Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. Looking to talk to me funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Joining me right now, the word legendary and iconic, those are not apt descriptors. There needs to be something larger to describe one of the most prolific actors in the last several decades. He's joining me right now, Mr. Ernie Hudson. Ernie, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you, spend some time together. I appreciate it.
Prolific is a word that I use to describe you because when you look at your credits, whether you scroll down IMDb or what have you, you have done so many projects and have always consistently been working on something. Where does that drive come from for you?
It basically comes from, it took me a while to discover what I really wanted to do. And once you find that out, you just want to have the opportunity to work, express yourself through that. Also, I need to make a living. I was a single dad. And so just all the things the best things in life comes from work in my mind. So it's important for me I've always worked. Even as a little kid, I had jobs. I've always been able to bring money in to help the house. And I just can't imagine, not working.
What were some of those early jobs you had that kind of informed that work ethic?
Well, when I was a kid, the first job I had was picking fruit. My family, they come up from the South, and a lot of the work that was there, I was born and raised in Michigan, but they had a lot of fruit farms. And so the earliest job I remember is I must have been, I know I wasn't in school, picking fruit. And I remember working so hard to fill this little quart basket up. And I got it filled and I was so proud. And I was taking it to my grandmother and tripped and spilled everything. And there were people who laughed. So it's kind of a good and bad memory. But and when I was a little kid, in the winters, I would go out and there was a fish market that would give me their empty wooden boxes, and I'd chop them up and take them around door to door and sell wood to people. They had the wood burning fireplaces, work with gardeners, on their trucks. I'd go out and just whatever I could do to bring money in we didn't have very much. So I was just always felt the need to work. My grandmother, who raised me, my mom died when I was 3 months old. I never knew my dad, but my grandmother gave me the feeling that whatever I did would made all the difference. And so she just, when I was in grade school, on the weekends, I'd get up at 4 a.m, go down to a corner and wait for the truck to come by. People would, stand on the corner, and then they drive us to some farm. Had no idea where we were going. And you get out there before the sun came up, and you work until about 5 p.m. And I think I'd make probably $1.50, you know. But I felt very proud of being able to contribute. The worst job probably, I worked in a foundry
Oh, wow.
in my last year in high school. And my job was shoveling dirt for the molders. The guys who it was they made these molds for automobile engines, and so they were on a top level, but they had a conveyor belt that carried the dirt up and dumped it on the belt. So my job was in this large room filled with black dirt, and I had to shovel dirt into these cups that kept going up. So all for 8-10 hours, I just shoveled dirt. And it was, and you never had the satisfaction of filling anything up because it just kept moving, and you just kept. But I've always been able to sort of make a game out of work. So I found a way to have fun. I quit the job when they wouldn't give me the day off to graduate, and I missed my prom. But I thought, no, I'm going to my graduation. So. I've always been working. Always been working. And when I discovered acting, it's like, okay, I can work, and this is something that I don't have to shovel dirt, and I can have fun. So I just stay busy.
And busy right now. I mean, over these last, several years, obviously with Afterlife coming out and now Frozen Empire, you have Family Business that's coming out. It just announced today, Oswald Down the Rabbit Hole, which sounds very interesting. Let me ask you first, though, I want to ask you something specifically about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I saw the film. I love the movie. What I love most is the progression of Winston and where we first saw him in 1984 and where we find him in 2024. And I wanted to ask you, as an actor, is it satisfying to have this new story to tackle for Winston Zeddemoore's character?
Yeah, for me, it was one of the reasons that I'm still doing the films. Winston came in, looking for a job.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's any secret that the original script was a much more developed character. And once they found that, I guess it was me doing the role, the role was cut down considerably. And I felt that the studio didn't really sort of focus on developing that character. But I will say Sony is a different studio now than it was back in 1984. 1984. So what I love is that the character has developed. Over the past 30 years, he's done well for himself, and we discussed that a lot. And I just didn't want to go back and play a character that hadn't progressed. Still looking for a job. And I also love the fact that the character was an example of what is possible. A lot of little kids who discovered Ghostbusters, they loved Winston Zeddemore's character, but I wanted to show them that, Winston is, he's made something good of his life. And it just gave me a lot more to play off than, like I said, just coming in with a Ghostbuster jumpsuit and not having any place to go. And I thought also of all the characters back in 1984, he was just the least developed. We didn't really know much about him. And I'm just very, very thankful that Jason Reitman and Gil Kenan and Sony cared enough to hear what I was saying and allow the character to be, that he could be.
Yeah. There's a lot more, as we say down here in Texas, a lot more fat to chew on with Winston. And a lot, and I love just the expanding of that. And when you think about it, he also made the most sense to be a billionaire. If you think about his work ethic, even going back to earlier in our conversation, just as you are, his work ethic was like, I'm here, I'm going to put my nose to the grindstone, and we're going to see where it takes me.
Absolutely. And I think he really appreciates the fact that these are guys who gave him a job when he most needed. When he said, I'm just looking for a steady paycheck, he really meant it. And he's so appreciative of what they did for him. And I think he's one of those guys who's really loyal and he doesn't forget. I think he's helping Ray stands with his rent. He's always been there for the guys, and and that I think that it just speaks a lot to what I call living a good life. And then when we had the meetings, I really expressed to them in my own life, the one thing that's important for me is that I be some kind of an example of what's possible. Not that I'm doing anything truly, extraordinary, but just to live a good life and be, a decent human being.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely done that. Now, this Oswald Down the Rabbit Hole, when you read the concept of it, it's a really incredible concept of this animator who's locked in this prison and comes out. I mean, what attracted you to this movie?
That, at first, I'm not totally sure how this is all going to go. I'm excited about it. The filmmakers are pretty amazing, and they're still in the middle of working the script out. But I'm always looking for something a little bit different. In this business, they try to kind of say, "Oh, he does this well," and then that's all you'll do for the rest of your career. And so I'm always trying to break out of that sort of box a little bit. And this is I've done a lot of animated work, but this is a little bit different, and it's exciting. The whole horror genre, I haven't done a lot in that area, so this is really new and exciting for me. And honestly, I'm not altogether sure what it'll be, but I know it's going to be an adventure, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, always tackling something new, right?
Yeah.
And when I read the log line for it, I was like, this is inventive. It's different. I've never seen anything like this before, to my recollection. And I'm sure as an actor, especially with as many credits as you have, that's what you try to seek out. Absolutely.
That I just don't want to. Well, I think I owe it to the fans as well to try to come with something a little different. I think because of my voice, people will sometimes I get these authority roles, and I didn't want to get locked into being always a principal, some authority guy, who just sort of steps in. And I think the industry has always sort of veered me that way, but I've always had to sort of find a way to break out of it. And this is one of those ways of saying, no, I'm going to do something a little different.
Now, one movie of yours, which I haven't been able to find anybody really talk about it, like the making of it or their memories of it, is a movie that I love. It's called Collision Course. It was with Jay Leno, Pat Morita, and yourself were in it. Do you have any fond memories or any distinct memories of that project? It was Jay Leno's one and only movie that he did, and you were in it, of course. Do you have any memories of that film?
Yeah, well, Pat Morita was in it, and we shot it in Texas. I remember flying down to Texas. We had a director. We shot maybe about a week and a half, and then they changed the director. They got rid of the director, brought in a new director, and it was Jay was. I thought he was very good. It was a lot of fun to work with him and Pat. But then about halfway through, they said, Ernie, we've made so many changes, we've run out of money. So we can only pay you so much, and will you, unless if you want to stay and work for the rest of the movie for free. And I'm like, nah, that doesn't feel too good. I just remember they ran out of money, and my stuff got cut a little short. But it was fun doing. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
Oh, it's on HBO Max now. It's where I've watched it.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I'm glad to hear that, because I never actually saw it. So, I remember being in the movie, and we were shooting. Supposedly, it was downtown Detroit.
Yes.
And we're down there, and I'm looking around, and there's not one blind person here except me. I'm like, come on, this is downtown Detroit, really? I mean, I know there's some people out there looking for a job to play extras. You can do better than that. So that I have that memory of the movie as well. So I'm
glad I asked. Recently you made I think my entire timeline on social media was filled up with pictures of Ernie Hudson because you kind of broke the internet with this fitness physique, and people were calling you Zaddy and a thirst trap and all kinds of words. What did you make of people's reaction to that?
Well, as you can see here, my normal attire is a black T-shirt. I know it's kind of boring, but that's kind of what I wear. And I was doing press for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I had a smudge on my jacket, and so I thought, well, we're taking photos, so I took the jacket off, and I didn't think much about it, except we took some photos. And I guess somehow people discovered I had arms. I'm like, I've been doing this 60 years, and the same arms. I mean, I haven't had some kind of big physical transformation, but it was just, it's nice to be noticed. I mean, it was, but I was flattered, it was a little surprising, but in a pleasant way. I don't even know what to say. I respond.
But I think a lot of people saw you and were thinking, like, how can I look like that? I think at any age, people were talking, he's in his 70s and he's looking great. I think anyone would love to look like that at any age. How can what tip can you give to me and to the other people watching or listening to kind of get into that physique? I still got to fit in this 38 regular, but what can I do?
Yeah, I think I always say it's there's a part of us that sort of knows. We always say, well, how can I do this? How can I do that? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? But I think there's a part of us that really has the answers. You know what you need to do. I mean, we really do. Now we'll do everything we can to avoid doing it. We think, well, I don't really know. I'll need to read something. I'll need to take a course. I'll need to do this. But if you just do the common sense stuff, and I think people talk about God and religion, and I'm not a real religious person, but I think our common sense is the voice of the universe. And you need to drink water. So no matter how I try to get around it, you really need to take in, not as much as they say necessarily, because it's all very personal. We know sugars aren't good for us. We don't have to pretend we don't know that anymore. I mean, I love sweets, and I might have a piece of cake, but I'm not going to eat the whole cake. You need rest, so you can party, but you can't party, 5 days in a row. There's just things that I've always been aware that you can't, there's a price to pay. And most things that, man has made in terms of food, it's probably not good to eat a whole lot of it. Most things that God, the universe made, vegetables, fruits, that stuff you probably should consume more of. And, you got to keep your body moving, especially as you get older. I'm not a big gym person, but I'll go in, and I have a guy I work with who works with me on flexibility, and I do a Pilates class just for, movement, and sometimes I do, but just mix it up. We know we need to walk those 10,000 steps, and nobody does this perfectly, but it's just, when you're being a little off, and that's kind of always been, as an actor, I never wanted to be so not in shape that a role came up and I couldn't play the part. I didn't want to be on a set and they said, okay, we need you to run, and I can't run, or I can't do what I have to do. Right, so basically, I hope to, live a decent amount of time, and however long I'm here, I want to hopefully be able to enjoy this thing we call life. And so a lot of people ask how. It's really personal. Just don't do the stupid stuff.
It all boils down to that.
My grandmother would say, stupid will get you killed. So don't be stupid. Don't worry about being brilliant, being smart. Just don't do the stupid stuff. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I've always heard play stupid games and you win stupid prizes.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, it's not pretty.
It sure isn't. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. Of course, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Family Business, and the upcoming Oswald Down the Rabbit Hole. Ernie Hudson, I could talk to you forever, but I really appreciate the time.
Really appreciate you. Good luck with everything, and I'm going to be rooting for you, and just take good care. Appreciate talking to you.
Thank you so much, Ernie.
All right, take care.
That was great. And you should really check out Collision Course.
I'm going to find it. I never knew it was out there, so
It's out.
I appreciate that. Yeah, great.
Enjoy it and enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
All right, you too, man. Great
All
talking.
right, bye-bye.